So now that we discussed like this like social culture categories a little bit and further the analysis, I think we can like start to discuss her videos. And one of the videos I remember I sent her is haircut. When I was watching the video and I saw her like drawing, and one part of the video she says like, you don't have to be good at something to enjoy it.
Like, you know, doodling things. Like I don't need to be good at it to do it.
She's just like painting randomly, and it kind of brought me back to like my childhood when I was just like sitting and painting. And this is something that we talked about in class, that it's called the nostalgia code. It brings me back to my past and it makes me more involved. Like, I don't know if it happened to you, but when I watched the video, I was like, okay, now I want to draw something. When you had like 5 years old or 6 years old, and we would just like paint because we wanted to paint, and like nothing was like too important. We didn't care if it had to look perfect or not. In my opinion, she does like very simple things, and she doesn't really care if they're well done, and not in a bad way. For example, she plays the drums and she just like does it for fun. And I think there are many things throughout her videos that she just does because she's kind of enjoying life in a way. As teenagers, we are always looking to do some things like in a perfect way. She brings back all of those kind of memories to me, that just doing things for fun, it's a way of doing things. So I don't know, what do you think about that?
I definitely think that Emma Chamberlain is able to unlock the idea of nostalgia through her videos by like doing little tasks kind of by herself, like definitely like the drawing aspect, going to the beach by herself, kind of the idea of like picking up little hobbies. And it also, it definitely brings me back to my childhood, and even now as well, but especially to my childhood, the idea of like growing up as an only child, which like Emma Chamberlain grew up as an only child as well, and kind of having to do little things to entertain yourself, and to kind of just do little tasks by yourself and exist kind of just like as your own individual and not being surrounded by people. And I think that that's a huge part of her videos, kind of the idea of nostalgia. But to like watch her videos and understand that like, you know, rest and relaxation and doing little things you enjoy is also productive. And I think that's also super important, and also like can be linked to mental health as well.
I've been thinking about recently how there's all this pressure to like have a life where you do a lot of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's so bad about things being simple? I'm not saying that like, you know, you never do anything crazy, like you never go on a fun vacation or you never go to a nice dinner. I'm just saying that generally, like 80% of the time, life is just very mundane and boring. And that's not necessarily awful. It doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong if your life is like that. It doesn't mean that your life sucks. Once I accepted that I enjoy having a more simple life, I actually enjoy it a lot more.
Another video I would like to discuss, I love this video, it's fun, but I think it was insane that she literally recorded herself crying, like having a mental breakdown. She's not afraid of saying, I have a tonsil stone, I felt bad breath, I was freaking out. And she just like showed her emotions. It just like makes us realize that it's okay to be emotional sometimes, and it's absolutely okay to cry.
I feel like she really captures the idea of like emotion. You kind of feel how she feels. And it's almost like contagious in a way, which is really interesting. And I feel like it also plays on the idea of like the attachment you kind of develop towards Emma Chamberlain. And yeah, I appreciate like how she's always so just like raw and real in her videos about the idea of like emotion. And I think that also takes a lot of emotional maturity, which I feel like is the thing I really think of when I think of Emma Chamberlain. I also think she really talks about the idea of like mindfulness in her videos. And I think that's so important for like everyone's emotional health. And I think that's one of the things that's so inspiring about her, is the idea that people can kind of take inspiration and like, hey, you know what? One day I'm going to go on a trip and not use social media. I'm going to let myself cry and it's okay. I'm going to be myself, my authentic self. I'm going to do what I want to do, and no one has the right to say if they disagree with it.
Everything she does in her videos, she does in the name of her mental sanity, like her mental health, which brings me back to another class topics, that it's the audiovisual technologies. It's very clear how technology allows us to see things that we as humans, me in Colombia, Ali in Canada, we would not be able to see unless she grabs a camera and decides to show us that. All of these things because of our SCOPIC regime. So it's kind of like a way of seeing the world. We're able to like analyze this whole like Emma and like go Emma and like we love Emma. She's so great. She's so transparent because of the SCOPIC regime when we're in. I think she's gone this bigger because of how we are exposed to realness in a way and how we get attached to her because we're not used to having someone being so honest about everything. And I think that played a very important factor for Emma's like popularity, that she just brings something different to the table that we don't have.
I agree with that because Emma Chamberlain's brand is kind of based off of the idea of being relatable, like social media, like whether that's TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, everything's just showing you kind of like a perfect picture, perfect image of everybody's lives that's constructed, that's a fabrication, that's not at all true. When you view social media, you almost think that an Instagram is an extension of someone's personality.
I remember like this another class topic, so it's called active looking. For example, Emma's always drinking coffee in every single one of her videos, and that's something that's played a good amount of like her popularity. Like she even made her own coffee brand based of just drinking coffee on her videos, which is something amazing. It's insane. Like you can set her apart from the American youth, but she's still a teenager and she still does things that we consider are cool. For example, she goes thrifting a lot in her videos. She has this video called Film, that she goes thrifting and then she buys a film camera and she just like does these things that are still relatable, but like in her own style.
I think that even though I feel as if Emma Chamberlain's a huge part of pop culture and a huge part of us growing up in our youth, it's also important for like everyone to realize that she's also like in her youth, she's also like going through this experience.
All of her videos have like this footage of the street, which they're amusing to me. And I think that's just like a very on brand thing for Emma on her videos, that she just like kind of shows you the simplest things ever with a twist. We've like created this representation of her in our heads that makes us see the world in a certain way. She gives a completely new signification to doing simple things in life. But kind of to like close, I think that mental health, American youth is a big part of Emma in a way that how she approaches it. And I think it's just interesting to see how transparent she is about mental health and how different of an American girly she can be, but at the same time she's still a teenager. We are so involved with her because of how honest she is with us, which is something that touches every single person in her mental health like field, because it's not something we're used to.
It's really interesting to like look at how she kind of started and who she became, and the idea how almost her video types flipped in a way. It's kind of like an indie film, and that's exactly how I feel watching her videos. And I think that also like relates a lot to mental health, changing, becoming who you are meant to be as an individual, and being okay to become someone else one day too, as long as that pertains to the evolution of yourself as a human being, as becoming a better version of yourself. I think Emma Chamberlain's definitely a really good role model in relation to mental health.
A very important thing about this analysis is globalization, because how close we are, even though we're in different countries, be, related in a way that we're from the same generation and we have still like this like connections mentally and like in the way we think and the way we like act and every of that. So Ali, thank you so much for participating in the project, in the analysis. It was really fun. So I will be ending the recording right now.